Now attend the Parsons Library hosts a presentation on 12 women who found themselves on the front lines of the civil rights movement. Plus, what Missouri says hunters and anglers in the state need to know. And Fort Scott High School students showcase their tech and fine art skills.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
In honor of Black History Month, the Parsons Public Library hosted a presentation this evening about the 12 black women involved in the historic Brown versus Board of Education case, many of whom were from Kansas. This is KOIM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. KOIM's Elise Noe has more.
These are 12 African-American women who signed their names, and they literally changed history.
Historian Donna Ray Pearson presents the women of Brown, sharing the stories of the 12 black women who were plaintiffs in the 1954 Brown v. Board of Education case at the Parsons Public Library.
This year's the 70th anniversary of the decision. So there's a lot of conversation going on about the case right now. But historically, there's never been much conversation about the women themselves.
Pearson says that the contributions of these women in the civil rights movement is often overlooked, but their story is an essential part of the impact the case has had on American society.
Because they were women and because they were African American, they were not asked the same kind of questions that the men were asked. They were not the civil rights lawyers standing in front of the judges. These were just 12 ordinary women who did something extraordinary.
The Women of Brown is part of Humanities Kansas's Speakers Bureau, hoping to strengthen civic engagement in the state.
Hope people will go, after they see a presentation, they'll be like, you know, such and such does that in my community, and maybe they too should be documented and their story recorded.
And the story of these 12 black women remains pertinent in the present day.
I think we need to know about them. I think we need to know that everyday heroes come from our communities.
In Parsons, Kansas, Elise Noe, KOIM News.
Now, this was Pearson's first time giving the presentation and discussion of the Women of Brown. She says she'll continue to highlight these women's stories and ensure they will not be forgotten. Boy, unseasonably warm again. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, another fantastic day outside for us today. We did actually push record high. 77 was our high record in 1996 of 81. Average high is 53 degrees, so a good chunk above where we should be. Let's go outside. Still 69 in Joplin. It's about 10 degrees cooler in Pittsburgh, but everybody's going to hang really kind of near that 60-degree mark as we go through the overnight hours, but still a lot of 60s, even a couple 70s popping up. Southerly winds are going to keep our temperatures up just a bit as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight, but all in all, it looks pretty good. Now, we do have a fire weather warning in effect for tomorrow. This is due to the high winds, lower humidity. You don't want to burn tomorrow, plus it's going to be super windy across the region. We have some clouds kind of increasing, a couple little sprinkles in our northern counties, but big changes moving in over the next 36 hours. We will discuss it here in a bit.
Catch you in a few. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says it's too soon to call the race for the Republican presidential nomination over, but time might be running out for her to make it a competitive race against former President Donald Trump. Nicole Skanga has the latest.
Campaigning in Michigan ahead of Tuesday's Republican primary, Nikki Haley says if Donald Trump gets the party's nomination, he won't be able to win in November.
Here you have a candidate who can't win a general election.
Without citing evidence, Haley says she believes the Democratic Party is scrambling to replace President Joe Biden on the November ticket.
It is not going to be Joe Biden. And Republicans need to wake up and know you're going to be running against a younger candidate. Guaranteed.
Haley, who served as U.S. ambassador to the UN during the Trump White House, vows to battle on despite a string of losses to the former president.
There will be 21 states and territories from now until Super Tuesday. Our focus is on every one of those.
Former President Donald Trump has won the majority of delegates up for grabs so far, and he's leading in the states that will soon be voting. He says he's already looking ahead to November for a rematch with President Biden.
I just wish we could do it quicker. 9 months is a long time.
Both Biden and Trump are looking to address one of the campaign's most challenging issues, the migrant crisis. President Biden is heading to Brownsville, Texas this week.
I've been planning to go Thursday. What I didn't know is my good friend apparently is gone.
The same day, Trump will be in the border city of Eagle Pass. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, Washington.
Haley has promised to stay in the race through Super Tuesday when voters in 15 states go to the polls. But a key finance source is drying up. Americans for Prosperity Action, backed by the billionaire Koch brothers, said it will no longer spend millions to help Haley because it doesn't think she has a path to victory after that loss in South Carolina. Missouri State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick today released a follow-up report for the city of Purcell. It finds the city is still working to implement many of the recommendations made by a 2022 audit that gave the municipality a rating of poor. The original report was initiated by a citizen petition and led to the former mayor pro tem being charged with stealing after uncovering more than $3,200 in missing or misappropriated money. The follow-up report looks at 19 of the recommendations made in the original audit and finds the city has fully implemented only 4 of them. Staff on duty at the Independence, Kansas Fire EMS building went into action when a pickup truck crashed into the back of the station. Firefighters heard what sounded like an explosion, saw a dumpster fly into the air before striking a canopy roof and then falling to the ground. The emergency workers managed to free a person who was trapped in that truck. That person was taken by helicopter to the hospital. Police are investigating the cause of that crash. The Missouri Community Service Commission is asking for nominations for the 22nd Annual Show Me Service Awards. The awards highlight volunteer work done by Missourians. They're broken up by region and age, as well as community, business, and national service awards. You have until March 11th to fill out the form to nominate someone. You can find it on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. The Salvation Army of Ottawa County Service Center is moving into a new space that fits all of their services. It's moving from Owens Boulevard to 1915 North Main Street in Miami. First glance, it might look like just a thrift store, but no, it is much, much more than that. It provides free clothing, access to the food pantry, and social services to people in need.
It is a few hundred square feet larger. It houses all 3 of our services. So we have social services, we have a clothing shopping experience that's free for people, and we also have a food pantry.
Salvation Army of Ottawa County Service Center is currently open on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to noon. It's a big night for high school basketball. John's going to have playoff highlights from Frontenac and Baxter Springs coming up later in sports. But first, we're going to meet a woman who's happy, positive, and just turned 105 years old. The Missouri Department of Conservation wants to remind hunters and anglers now is the time to renew those hunting and fishing licenses, and Missourians can do it online. Related annual permits expire at the end of February, including 2023 permits for small game, fishing, trout fishing, and combination hunting and fishing. For more information on how to renew your license, just go to our website again, KOAMnewsnow.com. Pitt State today handed out a first-of-its-kind degree from any university in Kansas. More than 1,000 students received an Associates of Arts degree in General Studies. Students with the degree will receive an honor cord for commencement when they finish their bachelor's degree. Later this spring, the university will award the degree to former students who stopped short of a bachelor's but met the associate's requirements. Fort Scott High School today hosted its Academic Technology and Fine Arts Showcase. Visitors could check out academic displays, demos, art exhibits, digital creations, shop class tours, and a lot more. It wasn't just the students who were excited about showcasing their work, the teachers were too.
I hope the community sees how much our students are capable of, because we have some amazing students here. As we look forward to creating a technical school in this area, I hope that they can see that this technical school will really serve our students well.
The event also featured musical performances from the school's jazz band, chamber orchestra, and choir. A Kansas woman celebrates a big milestone today, one not very many people reach. Evelyn Bowman turned 105 years old. Alan Shope spoke to Evelyn about the secret to her longevity.
My name is Evelyn Bowman. I am 105 today.
And for Evelyn, it just isn't that big of a deal.
I don't think we paid that much attention to birthdays when I was a kid.
But once she hit the century mark, every new one is a special occasion. And for Evelyn, it's been 100+ years well lived. On Monday, it was a lunch celebration with some of her best friends.
I'm not usually the one that's needing to be in the limelight, but this is certainly one place where you have to be.
A lot of the conversation, how did you get there?
Everybody wants to know, including myself.
Evelyn says the key to making it to 105, well, she has no idea. But she's got some thoughts and some suggestions.
Nutrition, exercise, socialization.
But she says for her, there's been one thing in particular that's made all the difference.
Being happy, being positive is another important aspect, and I think I've been positive most of my life.
And she says she'll continue to be as the years keep rolling by.
Evelyn says her happiest times were raising her 4 kids and traveling on mission trips overseas with her late husband of 66 years. A little bit later, the gorillas proved to be the kings and queens of the track and field jungle. John's going to have details on PSU's record-setting weekend.
Plus, we have a big roller coaster ride over the next 36 hours. Details coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be a very warm and windy day for us today. In fact, as we are wrapping up the month of February, because we're almost done with it, 26 days, 21 of the 26 have been above average. So very warm, one of our warmest Februaries on record. And we're going to keep that warm trend going as we go into your Tuesday. All right, let's go outside. Here's a nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. As we get into tomorrow, we do have a fire weather warning, also a wind advisory, red flag warning, which in a sense means it's going to be very windy and the humidity is going to be low, so you don't want to do any burning over the next couple days. Southerly winds keeping our temperatures up for you tonight, so we're going to have gusts kind of in that 15, 20, 25 mile per hour range, but increasing as we get into the daytime hours tomorrow. Here's a noon hour, winds gusting 30, upwards of 40 at times. The winds switch out of the north tomorrow night, but still breezy or windy as we head into Wednesday morning, plus the humidity. Now, through tonight and then heading through the morning hours tomorrow, it's not bad. Humidity is going to be sitting right around 50%. But once we get into tomorrow afternoon, they start to drop off nearly 20%. So the lower levels of the atmosphere are going to be pretty dry. Look at our temps. We're 60s to 70. Once you get into our southern counties, look at the warm air across the entire Central Plains. It just doesn't last long. We have a strong cold front starting to invade. Here it comes, and it's going to plow south, and it should make it here tomorrow evening, and then much colder air kind of sweeps in. So we're going to have anywhere from a 50 upwards to a 60-degree drop from our high temp tomorrow all the way to about Wednesday morning, so about a 12-hour stretch, which is kind of crazy. We do have some clouds rotating through, a couple little sprinkles. Northern counties, most of you will be dry tonight. Not a big deal. As we go west, western third of the country, here's the beginnings of our next storm system, which will start affecting us over the next 24 hours as it heads out. Now, it doesn't have a lot of moisture, so the biggest impact on you is going to be the wind and turning much colder. Near 60 by morning. As we go through the morning hours, clouds increase. Look at this, upper 70s by noon, and then lower 80s, 81, 82 for a high. As this front comes in tomorrow evening, it'll be sliding in 6, 7 o'clock. We could get some scattered thunderstorms in our southern counties, so maybe Aurora, Monette, Cassville, Bentonville. Everybody else is probably going to stay dry. Then tomorrow night, as that colder air continues to filter in, some light little snow showers shoot on through, but it doesn't look like a huge deal. Look at our overnight lows down into the mid-20s by Wednesday morning. All right, that light snowfall tomorrow night, not really expecting any accumulations, but if there were any, they'd be extremely minor, mainly in the northern half of the viewing area. Here's your Tuesday, 61 to start, 76 by noon. Look at that high temp, up to about 81 degrees during the afternoon, and then down to 27 tomorrow night. So that's a big swing, only 43. The high temps are going to be a 40-degree difference from Tuesday.
That is an
to
amazing
Wednesday.
swing.
Yeah.
And by the way, record high temps, they're great in February. I hope we don't see them, say, in July. August.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug. A new study links air pollution to signs of Alzheimer's disease. According to the study, people who inhale higher concentrations of small airborne particles, such as exhaust from vehicles, those people are more likely to have signs of the disease in their brains. The research also found a strong link between pollution and signs of Alzheimer's for people who were not already genetically predisposed to the disease. New data shows a surprising trend among U.S. smokers. They're turning from cigarettes to smoke-free alternatives like vapes at a faster than expected rate. According to the maker of Marlboro, cigarettes' share of the U.S. nicotine industry fell to 60% last year. That's down from 80% just 5 years earlier. This comes amid a growing number of nicotine alternatives, including oral nicotine pouches and illicit disposable vapes, which were the fastest growing nicotine products in the U.S. last year. And the number of young people requiring prescriptions for depression or anxiety has skyrocketed since the pandemic. According to a new study in the journal Pediatrics, the number of people ages 12 to 25 was already growing, but since COVID, the dispensing rate rose almost 64% more than normal and more than 130% for young women. Several wrestlers from the 4 states return home as state champions, and we have highlights from tonight's sub-state quarterfinal between Frontenac and Baxter Springs. John Dale says those stories and more up next.
Playoffs are here for high school basketball in Southeast Kansas, and tonight we begin our coverage of Sub-State with a quarterfinal between Baxter Springs and Frontenac. Sub-State tournament begins in Frontenac. The 6th seed Baxter trying to upset the 3rd seeded Raiders. And the Lions start fast. Gage Maggard zips a pass to Jacob Grant, who rises for the two-handed slam. Baxter Springs leads by 1 after 1. Frontenac starts to gel in the second, though. Right before halftime, Trey Kramer pulls the trigger from beyond the arc and connects. The Raiders take a 10-point lead into the break. Second half, more of the same. Off an offensive rebound, Vinny Collier open from the left wing. He hits. Raiders go up by 14. Next possession, Collier, same spot on the floor, same result. Give him 3 more points. Possession after that, well, everything seems to be working for the Raiders. Trey Kramer, why not go for the bank shot from 3? All smiles tonight for Frontenac. 53-34, the Raiders advance to the sub-state semis, where they'll face Riverton on Thursday. Switching gears from the hardwood to the rubber floor, Pittsburgh State Track and Field competed against all of its conference foes at the MIAA Indoor Championships in Washburn this weekend, and the Gorillas take home 2 team conference titles. Starting on the women's side, the Gorillas track and field team wins the 2024 Indoor Conference title. It's the 8th time in the last 9 years they've done so. PSU with 5 individual champions and sets 3 new conference records along the way. Now the men's team, just as successful. Pitt State is your 2024 men's track and field indoor champ. That's the 4th year in a row and 8th time in the last 10 years they've won it. The Gorillas set a new record for team points and have 5 individual champions. Now over the weekend, the high school wrestling season in Missouri and Kansas also comes to a close. We told you all last week the 4 states would be well represented at the state finals, and well, several of our local athletes take home state championships. From Kansas and Missouri, 7 wrestlers finished the year as state champs. Faith Jones from Cassville, as well as Isabella Renfro and Andrew Manley from Seneca, all 3 of them state champs. Then in Kansas, 4 state champions, all of them girls, classes 4 through 1A. Harper Holmes, part of the first 3 Lady Raiders to make state, wins the state title at 105 pounds. Kenna Miles from Fort Scott is the 110-pound state champ. Then Reese Clements and Kylie Dillow, high school teammates at Chanute, are also state champions at 135 and 170. Over to college basketball, one of the Big 12 teams from the Sunflower State back at home tonight. Kansas State men's basketball wins a nail-biter, 94-90 in overtime. Wildcats led West Virginia by 22 at half, but got outscored by 22 in the second half to force the extra session. KSU adds to its unbelievable overtime resume under head coach Jerome Tang. This is his second season with the Cats. He's never lost in overtime. He is 12-0. And another high school basketball note, Liberal girls basketball. We saw them win a district championship last week. At the end of the week, they win at sectionals tonight. They move on to the state quarterfinals.
Congratulations to them. We'll be right back. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly signs a proclamation designating March 4th through the 8th next week as Severe Weather Preparedness Week in Kansas. Being prepared includes being aware of weather conditions and having a family emergency kit and emergency plan. As part of the week's activities, Kansans are urged to take part in the statewide tornado safety drill. That's going to be next week, Wednesday, March 6th at 11 a.m. You can learn more, of course, at KOIMnewsnow.com. Do not have any severe weather on the immediate horizon, but boy, we have a big weather swing ahead of us.
We do, and we may get a few pop-up little tiny thunderstorms in our southern counties tomorrow evening, but severe weather season for us officially starts on March 1st. But look at this, 81 tomorrow and only 43 on Wednesday.
Yeah, crazy. Final sports notes.
El Dorado Springs girls basketball made it to the state title game last year. They win tonight, so they're now in the quarterfinals.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show starts at 5 a.m. and let's make it a great tomorrow.